I've tried to distance myself from it because of the toxic. Just the people were so toxic.
Okay, anti-feminists in general. You mean?
No,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
feminists. Yeah.
Or the feminists or the anti-feminists? Oh no, you
No,
tried.
not the No, the feminists were too toxic. It's just a very toxic topic.
Right.
And because I've got a daughter, I'm teaching her the egalitarian way that my grandparents had, that my parents have, that I try and have.
That's a really interesting thing, because I always say that as well, that egalitarianism is like equality and stuff like this, but I think traditionalism was also a form of egalitarianism in the past. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that was equality for then. It doesn't work now, okay, maybe, but it is a form of equality, but people don't classify traditional gender roles as... No.
I think only because I think they've never been in it, or they have a very wrong view of it.
Right. I think people have a very wrong view of it. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So when our grandparents used to look after my brother and I, our grandmothers ran the household. Like, my grandmothers don't, when it's business, my grandmothers never interfered with work. And when it comes to the household, our grandfathers never interfered with the household. It's not really a division of
labor. I agree. It was a division of labor, and women had the labor in this section, childcare or whatever, and men had extra labor in this section, which would have been providing.
Exactly.
So it was just, you do extra here, you do extra here, we come together, and this is our equality for today, for what we can do. Yeah.
And then tomorrow's a brand new day.
So. Right. And you see, women were forced into that role because of nature. I think feminism totally misplaces the blame, in that they blame society and they blame men for women having been forced into the role of childcare and the home, or whatever. But it had nothing to do with men. It had nothing to do with misogyny. It had nothing to do with society. It had nothing to do with patriarchy or anybody being mean. It was a nature-based thing, in that women are the ones who breastfeed children, become pregnant, and have a lot of different things that naturally bond them or bind them in a biological way to the children. So the oppressors of women were never men. It was nature,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And back then it was, women had the right to marry or not. And if they didn't want to be in it, they didn't have to be in it. Just my grandparents loved it. They loved looking after their husbands. They loved looking after their children and their grandchildren. It was all, like you said, it was all equal. And then the feminists came along and ruined all that.
Yeah. Right. And the thing is, like, I understand why the changes had to be made, because technology opened up new worlds and everything changed. So we had to change everything so that women went out into the world and everything changed. That's fine. But my issue, really, the core issue is how they brought about that change was by saying it was patriarchy, it was men, women were oppressed, it was unequal, it was totally unfair to women. And I think that is so unfair to men, because the oppression didn't come from men. And it's really important where it is important where we say this oppression came from. Traditional gender roles were oppressive. They were oppressive to women and to men, because many women and many men didn't like that. But the oppression on the part of women specifically came from nature. It came from real biological things, and there were reasons why women had to be homemakers that had to do with pregnancy, the aftermath of pregnancy, breastfeeding, and the things associated to that. There's so many little things that are associated to that women don't consider, because we have technology that totally makes those things invisible.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you were giving birth and you had natural birth after natural birth, if you had 2 or 3 of those, you had problems with peeing yourself and stuff like this. You had so many little problems that we can deal with today, but we couldn't deal with 200 years ago. And
no, we should be blessed rather than bitching about it.
Exactly, but we look back at it and we say this was oppression. It wasn't oppression, and it was oppression if you want to call it that, fine. But it didn't have anything to do with men. I mean, the oppression. It was
biological oppression.
It was biological oppression, and it's really important for people to put the blame on the right thing, because we are in a society where even at university level, we are allowing people to put the blame on men for something that absolutely had nothing to do with men. You know?
No. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, the system of traditional gender roles, or patriarchy as they call it, is something that, one, came from nature, and two, it oppressed both men and women. First of all, everybody was oppressed. Women were oppressed, men were oppressed. It was just a box that was uncomfortable for a lot of people. And yeah, it came from nature. It was unfortunate. We're coming out of it, but just tell the truth about what it was instead of blaming men for no good reason and having people feel like, oh, men historically were just so bad to women. No, the system was a form of egalitarianism. It doesn't seem so today because we can't see the realities that the people faced, but it was a form of equality where men took on more work in that part of the thing, and women took on more work in that part of the whole thing. Yeah. Division of labor that made sense for the time. Okay, because there was a lot of work to get done, and that was the most efficient way to get it done for many people.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And men are a lot physically stronger than women, so it only makes sense they do the physical labor, I guess you could say.
Right.
And women, we're biologically, I don't know, I mean, if you want to do anything, blame it on the higher power. We're the ones that give birth, we're the ones who breastfeed. It's only natural that we do the house, the house side of things.
Yeah, the child care, and then the house thing came in because we were at home anyway. So, I mean, because we were with the kids had to be at home. They had to be in the safe place,
one place safe, and they need to be fed. So
yeah, and we had problems that women don't acknowledge. Feminism never acknowledges these biological realities. I see them time and time again talk about what women faced, and this law and that law, and how men could have beaten women, and they put something over the woman's head, and they did all these evil things to women, which half of it is not even true, because the laws that they quote, yes, they were terrible to women, but they were at the same time there were terrible laws that existed against men. They just don't. They just close. My eyes are closed when the laws are bad for men. My eyes are open when the laws were bad for women. Right? But okay. So they talk a lot about all these laws and everything was bad for women, but they don't acknowledge just this simple fact that the oppression came from nature. There were realities that forced women to stay at home. They were,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should talk. Maybe I should talk about that to my feminists.
Yeah.
That I've known. About biological. It's more biological oppression than men oppression.
Right, and everyone was just coping, with stuff.
Exactly.
I'm sure that men.
The Great Depression.
Yeah, men also didn't like this patriarchy. I mean, of course, patriarchy was men. Men also are happy to be free of all of that. It is
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that I hate. I'm a traditionalist, so I'm fine with. I mean, personally, I mean, I understand for society that many people don't like that. So yes, fine. But personally, I'm fine with traditional.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with the traditionalism. I mean, I'm right now in a traditional relationship because, well, we prefer it that way.
Yeah, same. So and I think there are many people who would choose that, but it also is connected to, well, maybe not, but a little bit connected to whether or not you have children, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
And how many, because when people have much less children, then the traditional relationship really does probably become less practical than.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, I've always wanted 2 children, but unfortunately, biologically, my body just went nope. So we've only got 1.
Yeah. Of course, people can still choose it. There are many people who don't have children and they still have a traditional relationship, and that's fun. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. everyone should be entitled to do, whatever they want and just find happiness in.
Don't spread lies and toxic. Yeah, don't spread toxic lies and.
Right, about men and
down our throats.
Exactly, and don't tell women how to live. In that, to tell them that their relationship is toxic or whatever. Don't tell women how to live just because you don't prefer it.